All right, testing 1, 2. Happy Friday, Happy Friday afternoon, everyone. Let me see if I can pull up the chat window. This is a very quick stream. Just going to go over one little idea, and that has to do with locking up the hands. I want to thank everybody who's been getting the Bob Songs Volume 1 and 2. Actually, most people have done Volume 1. We've had a couple of people do that, and a couple of people got the Shapes course, so thank you for that. I'm really excited to have those as standalones in the store now, and also, see if I can change this here. Here we go. We need to have that chart up. And as you guys know, in a couple of weeks we have a new website, but you can still go to imusicacademy.com if anyone wants those resources. I made them standalone, Bob Songs Volume 1 and 2, as well as the Shapes course. Crazy deal on that, and as well as Bob Song Volume 1 is a crazy low price, and you get 37 replay bootcamp training videos. And the Shapes bundle is ridiculous. It has so many things in all keys and backing tracks and all kinds of stuff, and at a very affordable price. All right, but that's not what this is about. This is about locking up the hands. So let's dig in. Right now I'm doing Bob Songbook Volume 1. The very first thing is the I See a Pattern Blues. And you have this blues scale coming down. Let me get to, where I can see the chat. And it's not what I wanted. I'll change this. And then make sure, okay, we're good. Let me just go here. There we go. Occasionally we'll have somebody say hello in the chat. I want to make sure I don't miss that. Okay, so this is a descending blues pattern coming down. One, the more I play, I see a pattern. Blues scale coming down. Let me make sure I'm not unlisted too. A couple things that I forgot to check on the way in. Okay, I think we're good. So this is a descending blues scale, and yes, it does have lyrics on this one. Simple quarter note in the left hand. One, the more I play, I see a pattern. It goes right to F. Blues scale, tritone. Blues scale. Blues scale, tritone. Blues scale. Third on top. So the idea of this particular I See a Pattern Blues, the way we started off Bob Songbook Volume 1, is the idea of we want you to know the blues scale. It helps you not only know what notes you can play over the entire blues, but it also gets your hand moving up and down the keyboard. And what I always like to say is I use my fourth finger in the key of C. I use my fourth finger to get to that tritone. So as I'm visually going up and down the blues scale, I'm thinking about that fourth note. That helps me connect that fourth finger, on F sharp. And then my thumb comes under, and then on the top, you have the top half of the blues scale, which even in this song right here, the last line does da 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 da, then minor third, and then tritone lick. And this is kind of like an Oscar Peterson type lick when you go doo 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 doo. And Oscar Peterson would do these tritone lick things. They sound fantastic, right? But you can also use that to come up and down the blues scale. Ricardo, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Okay, so now I'm going somewhere with all this. This is a very short lesson, but here we're talking about locking up the hands, and I've been getting lots of comments from you guys saying you're loving the way I'm breaking things down. I very much appreciated this, and what I responded to somebody today is it's one of my favorite things is to teach people how to lock up the hands. I always say if you can play it slow and straight, then you can lock anything up, and you can figure out where the hands lock up. Let me give you a brief demonstration of an easy version of what I mean by that. And the next thing is I'll show you this little triplet thing we're going to lock up the hands. Okay, so we're going to do, if you did this, the very first thing we learned at iMusic Academy, and you want to play, and you're having trouble with that sort of the lilt, the kind of laid back feeling, there are ways you can learn even that. If you play it slow and straight, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and almost like a classical person would play it. You slow it down, you straighten it out, you can figure anything out. All right, so let's talk about this idea, I see a pattern blues. One of the nice things about it is if you start the blues scale on the and, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, even that makes it a little more musical in my eyes. You do, instead of dee da 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 da, you have the and, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Just blues scale notes, a nice little pattern to get the fingers moving. Okay, so what we're going to do now is let's do a different bass line. We've been doing quarter notes and lots of different bass lines, but even in this even in this Blues Volume 1, or sorry, Bob Songbook Volume 1, we have lots of different bass lines. You have the 8th note, you have the quarter note, you even have the 8th note pattern that goes up to the 6th note. You also have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So lots of different bass lines. And I love to teach how to lock up different bass lines. The one I'm going to show you right now is not necessarily in the book. I can't even remember if it is, but I want to show you how to lock this up with even different melodies like I See a Pattern Blues. The pattern I want to teach you is this. This is a great bass line. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And so notice that this is the note. These are the notes from a C6 chord, C, E, G, and add the 6th note. I'm doing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Notice the and of 2 gets my middle finger. 1 and 2 and 3, and then I have and 4 and that's G, A, G. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. So let's play it slow and straight. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now a quick little side note is that I do have a lot of resources that I put on sale in the at imusicacademy.com. I'm very excited that we are launching a new website within the next 2 weeks. I have my administrator working on it, and all the proceeds from the sales from the courses, if you just want to make a nice little donation and get you a course or two, go and visit the store, imusicacademy.com. There's a link to the store, and you can get something to help support the store. The new store is going to be really nice. I'm excited about the new platform. In the meantime, the old platform works great. But anyway, so here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now I'm going to put it with the right hand. Descending pattern starting on the and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Now watch this. 1 and 2 and. Okay, that's the first place it's going to lock up. The E and the G. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So, and 4 and. It's G, A, G, 1 and 2. I'm visualizing the and of 2 is a really important note to figure out what beats line up, what notes line up, the E and the G. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 1 and 2 and 3. And on and 4 and, you have the G and the F, the A and the E flat. I go to F and do the same thing, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So now on F we're going to go 1 and 2 and. So the C and the A are together. Pattern. And then do it slow and straight. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So my C and my F go together. Sorry, it's on the C. Now on F and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 1 and 2 and. The A and the C are together. 1 and 2 and 3 and then C and F. And that's by itself. We have this. Now this tritone lick. Know that it is just what I need. How would I get that? 1 and 2. There's there's the and again, the and of 2. 1 and 2 and 3, and then watch this, and 4 and. So we have E flat, C, C, E flat, C. So you see how I'm doing this? Nice and slow and nice and straight. 1 and 2 and 3 and, I'm sorry, I'm gonna do it slow and straight. That's not slow and straight. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now the second bar, 2 and 3. Slow and straight. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Let me do that again. I didn't do that right. And 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and there it is. Now right here, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I didn't do that right. Go. And 2 and 3. And I would practice this over and over. Slow and straight. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Let's do the second bar again. And 2 and 3 and 4 and that's a little bit tricky because it does 1 and 2 and that's together, A and C. 1 and 2 and, but then it's right hand only. 3 and 4 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's a little bit tricky because it has the right hand doing some by itself and the left hand doing some by itself. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Again, 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, so this, what I was just playing that, I really want to work on that second measure because that's the trickiest part of this. 1 and 2 and. That's the first thing I'm going to do is break that down, A and C. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Even slower. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. What's weird about this is if you actually look at the melody line, you'll see beats lining up, but we're not even playing that bass line, and that's why it's confusing at times. So just use your ear and your muscle memory to kind of lock this up. 1 and 2 and, that's together. 1 and 2 and 3 and. So the and of 3 gets C and F. And another thing, let me just say this, as you're thinking about a particular measure and one little idea, one thing I like to do is not only do I figure out where the beats line up, but I think about what's going to be by itself. Here's a quick tip for the second measure. 1 and 2 and. We know the and of 2 gets A and C, but watch this. 1 and 2 and 3. 3 is by itself on E flat. And then you go 1 and 2 and by itself, and then you go C and F. Now let's see if we can put that together. So another thing I practiced was the last measure on the first line is do-de-da-bo-de-ba-da-da. What a great lick for not only this bass line, right? That sounds great. In a jazz context, 2 and 3 and I can play it all the way through the C blues. Or I could do the a different bass line. Let's do this. I say. Or this. Okay, but let's go back to the one we were working on. The second line. And then on the last part. Okay, now a quick tip as we wrap this lesson up. I'm going to do it here in just a second. Is that I wasn't even planning on using this I See a Pattern as the original lick for today's lesson. I was going to do this right here. Let's see. One and then two and then three and then four and so it goes back to the one and then two and then three and then four and then one and then. What's up, Jeffrey? Good to see you, man. Good to see you, Jeffrey, and good to see you, Ricardo. I'm about to jump off for today, or for this for the next hour or two. But before I do, here's the original lick: tritone blues scale. You think one and then two and then three and then four and that lines up perfectly with one and then two and then the and. The last beat of the second triplet. One and then two and then three and then four and then. And then I could do it on F as well. So you want to break that one down thinking triplets. One and then two and then three and then four. And then you can put those two together. Right there. And because I practiced that at first, practicing with the scale on, the more I play, I see a pattern. I was able to build up a little bit of muscle memory to sort of get that going together. One and two and, because I figured out the G locks up with the E, and two and three and four and then the F. So then I work on that for a while, and I'm just thinking one and two and three and four. But on this lick, I'm thinking one and then two and then three and then four. And put it all together, and then we'll call it a day. One and two. All right, guys. Oh, what's up? Let's see. Awesome. Go play for the gig then. Hey, guys, have a great afternoon, rest of your night, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Good to see you, Ricardo and Jeffrey. Go get some practicing done, and thanks for hanging out with me as always.